Yvonne Fovargue. Sorry.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and congratulations on your election. Can I congratulate the Honourable Member for Corby on her confident and interesting and passionate maiden speech. I'd also like to congratulate the Honourable Member for Warrington South on his maiden speech and wish every success to his rugby team, except when they play Wigan. I'd like to begin by stating that although I follow the well-respected and esteemed Ian McCartney, about whom I'm going to say more later, there are a couple of obvious differences. I am female and I don't have a Scottish accent. And I think there might be a slight height difference as well. I'll also begin by expressing my pride in being the first female MP for Makerfield. Makerfield has a proud tradition of selecting Labour MPs, going back to 1906 and the election of Stephen Walsh, who incidentally was 4'10", perhaps another precedent there. The people of Makerfield were so determined to send a Labour MP to this place that they raised the funds themselves to pay for his salary and to ensure that he could represent the constituency in Parliament. This determination in the face of adversity still characterises the people of Makerfield today. In fact, Makerfield is not one particular easily identified area, but it's a collection of pit villages that grew up around the collieries. Each have got their own proud history and identity. Heaven forbid if you confuse Bamfalong with Platt Bridge and Stubshire Cross with Bryn. Each area has its own sense of community and history, and the people, many of whom lived through, and despite the wonderful efforts of the last 13 years in the excellent Labour Council, are still living with the devastation caused in the 1980s. However, there's a lot of grit and determination in Makerfield, and it's unequalled, as is their warmth and their friendliness. During the cold weather spell in January, I came across an 86-year-old woman, Teresa, shovelling snow and clearing paths, not only outside her house, but outside her neighbours. When the council workmen offered to do this for her, she said, "Nay, I've been shovelling coal as a pit brown woman since I was 14, and I can handle a shovel better than you two." Grit, determination, and a sense of community, all helping each other. That's what sums up Makerfield for me. I'd now like to turn to my predecessor, Ian McCartney. The words that I speak about Ian aren't done by convention, but by conviction and affection. An affection that's felt throughout Makerfield and the Labour movement. Ian represented Makerfield for 23 years, and his love for the area and the people is nearly as great as the affection and respect that they have for him. His career in opposition and in government has been both varied and influential. In opposition, he spoke on health, employment, education and social services, and in government, he was Minister of State for the DTI. It was during this period that he introduced a major new package of employment rights, including the national minimum wage. I don't think it would be an exaggeration to say that millions of people throughout the country have benefited from these measures and have reasons to be grateful to him. As chair of the NEC and the National Policy Forum, Ian was trusted by both the leadership and the membership, not an easy balance to hold, and this is just one demonstration of his integrity and the high regard in which he's held. However, despite his senior positions, Ian never forgot his roots. His first aim, which he undoubtedly achieved, was to be a good constituency MP. Indeed, he once said to me that all the best legislation, including his campaign which led to the banning of foam furniture, which emitted toxic fumes when alight, and which has saved thousands of lives across the country, has all come from constituency casework. Of course, Makerfield being part of the Wigan Borough, I can't leave out the fact that he was the founder member of the All-Party Parliamentary Rugby League group. And Wigan has a proud rugby league heritage, and amateur clubs continue to produce world-class players throughout, representing Wigan and the country. Ian was also president of the Money Advice Trust, and it's about credit and financial capability that I wish to discuss. I've been Chief Executive of the Citizens Advice Bureau for 23 years, and during this time, I've seen people come to me with an incredibly diverse range of problems. However, credit and debt is consistently the highest percentage of our work, impacting on people's ability to continue in their work, on their health and on their relationships. I've long believed that there are 3 strands to tackling this issue, each of which are important and require funding, and in some cases further exploration and legislation. Financial capability is the preventative area, teaching children's, families, community groups the skills they need to manage their money and choose their financial products wisely. I'm heartened by the partnerships developing between Citizens Advice, PFEG, credit unions and the Money Advice Trust. Indeed, locally, my own bureau worked in partnership with Welcome Credit Union to provide financial education to low-income groups. The second strand is the availability of credit, particularly to low-income borrowers, and encouragement for non-traditional savers to save. Within this, I deeply regret the government's removal of the Child Trust Fund. This has been the first time a family has had a lump sum to put into a savings account for a child, and it's been a practical demonstration to both that child and to the family of how savings actually work. I'd hope that credit unions are supported and allowed to expand. Within my own constituency, there are 2 excellent, very progressive credit unions, Unify and Welcome. Encouraging credit unions, mainstreaming their services and making them a real alternative for people to take out short-term loans at iniquitous rates of interest, 2,760% in some cases, are really important. I firmly believe there's a range of policy initiatives that we need to explore with mainstream lenders, credit unions and the social fund to end the cycle of credit dependency. Thirdly, for people already trapped in the spiral of unaffordable borrowing, access to debt advice services is absolutely crucial. Funding for this shouldn't be solely for legally aidable people, but should be available to all. I've seen for myself the effect of the face-to-face funding for debt advice provided by the previous government, and I've been able to more than match this funding from PCT-funded projects to reduce lower-level mental health problems. Indeed, there's a report come out this week showing that in 2 cases, professionals have put people at risk of suicide and have downgraded this now to no longer needing medical intervention as a result of this project. I'd urge the government to continue the face-to-face funding and explore other funding and help support people in work to stay in work, maintain their health and their relationships, and not let debt destroy families and individuals. I began by referring to my predecessor and commented on our differences. However, I'd now like to finish by stating that I hope we also have similarities, and that the most striking similarity will be that we will both be and have been a strong voice for Makerfield. Thank you.